The dispatcher's voice was calm. Mine wasn't. She said, "Repeat your last." I didn't want to, because what I'd just heard over a line that was supposed to be dead was someone breathing that shouldn't have been able to. "We'll get there. I promise you. We'll get there." My name doesn't matter. What matters is I've spent 11 years riding in the back of a rig, going through doors most people spend their whole lives hoping they never have to open. People ask me what the job is really like. They expect blood. They expect sirens. And sure, there's plenty of that. But the calls that stay with you, the ones that wake you up at 3 in the morning long after your shift ends, those aren't the ones with blood in them. They're the ones that don't make sense. Every story I'm about to tell you is true. I've changed names, I've changed addresses, because some of these families never want to hear about that night again. But everything that happened, happened. This is a Paramedic Horror Stories video, and I want to be honest with you up front. Some of these I still don't have an answer for. If you're here for true horror stories, disturbing true stories, the kind that don't wrap up clean, you're in the right place. 7 calls, 7 nights. Let's start with the one that should have been simple. Story 1. The Baby Monitor. It started with a mother who said her baby wouldn't stop laughing. 4 a.m. call. New mother, first child, panicking because the baby monitor in the nursery kept picking up laughter. Soft, delighted, the kind of laugh a baby gives when someone's playing peekaboo. Standard anxiety call. We get a lot of those with new parents. I wasn't worried. We got upstairs. The baby was asleep. Had been asleep, the mother said, for 2 hours straight. The monitor was still on the dresser, still transmitting. My partner picked it up to check the batteries. That's when we heard it, right there in the room. No lag, no static. The laughter, coming from the monitor, while the baby, 3 feet away from us, lay completely silent. We never figured out what the monitor was picking up. The mother moved out 2 weeks later. She told me, before we left that night, that she recognized the laugh. She said it sounded exactly like her sister's laugh, her sister who died in that same room 20 years earlier when the house belonged to their parents. I still don't sleep right after that one. Story 2. Code blue twice. But the call that really broke something in me happened on a Tuesday. Nothing about Tuesday should be scary. This one was. Cardiac arrest, elderly man, home alone. We got him breathing again in the field. A win, a genuine win, the kind of call you radio and proud of. 12 minutes later, on the way to the hospital, he flatlined again. We worked him, got him back a second time. Here's the part that still doesn't sit right with me. Both times he coded, both times exactly 2 minutes and 13 seconds passed before his heart restarted on its own, before we'd even finished compressions. Same number, to the second, twice. When he woke up in the ICU 3 days later, the first thing he asked, before his name, before where he was, "Did you see her standing behind you?" We hadn't seen anyone. He described her in detail, down to the coat she was wearing. It matched exactly the coat his wife was buried in 4 years earlier. Some numbers don't have an explanation. I've stopped looking for one. Story 3. The House That Answered. The next one isn't about a person at all. It's about a house that shouldn't have known we were coming. Welfare check, elderly resident, no answer on the phone for 3 days. Routine. We do dozens of these a month. We pulled up and every light in the house was off, except the porch light. It was flickering, not randomly, in a pattern. On, off, off, on, off, off. Like Morse code, if you knew Morse code, which at the time, none of us did. My partner knocked. Nothing. I tried the door, unlocked, and the second it opened, the porch light stopped flickering entirely. Just steady, like it had been waiting for that exact moment. Inside, the house was freezing. Not AC on cold. Cold like a walk-in freezer, and from somewhere upstairs we heard 3 slow knocks. Not footsteps, knocks against wood, deliberate, evenly spaced. We found the resident at the top of the stairs. She'd passed away, the coroner estimated 3 days prior, which lined up with the missed calls. But here's what none of us can explain. She was found in a locked, unreachable attic crawl space. The only door to it was nailed shut from the outside. It had been nailed shut for years, her son told us later. So who or what moved her there, and who was knocking? We never got an answer. I looked that woman up 2 years later. Her name matched a woman who disappeared from that same address in 1974. Same house, different decade, same silence. If these calls are getting to you, make sure you're subscribed, because there are far darker ones coming. And I mean that. Story 4. The second voice on the line. 3 weeks after that house, dispatch sent me on a call that didn't officially exist. A 911 call came through. A man, distressed, giving an address for a car accident on Route 9. We rolled out immediately. Multi-vehicle accidents on that stretch are common. There's a blind curve, locals call Widow's Bend. We got to the coordinates. No accident, no car, no skid marks, nothing, just an empty road and fog thick enough to swallow our headlights whole. Dispatch radioed back to confirm the call. That's when it got strange. The recording of the original 911 call, the one giving us the address, had 2 voices on it. The man reporting the crash, and underneath him, layered quiet beneath his voice, a second voice, whispering the exact same words half a second behind him, like an echo that had learned to speak on its own. The dispatcher who logged the call swore there was only one caller on the line. She heard one voice, start to finish. The recording says otherwise. To this day, nobody at that station will play that audio file after dark. I've heard it myself. Once. That was enough. Story 5. The patient who knew my name. Now, most calls. The patient doesn't know me from a stranger on the street. This next one knew things about me nobody could have known. Overdose call, downtown, a man in his 30s, barely conscious when we arrived. We started standard treatment. He was fading in and out, mumbling the way patients often do. As I leaned in to check his pupils, he grabbed my wrist, hard, sudden, and said my first name. Not my badge name, my actual first name, the one that isn't printed anywhere on my uniform. Then he said something else. He said, "Tell your daughter the swing set is fine. She doesn't need to be scared of it anymore. I don't have a daughter." My sister does. And 2 nights before that call, her daughter had woken up screaming, insisting something was standing by the swing set in their backyard. When the man came off the drugs in the ER the next day, he had no memory of the call at all. None. Didn't remember the ride, didn't remember saying my name, didn't remember any of it. He'd never met me before that night. He's never seen me since. I never told my sister what he said. I still haven't. Story 6. The nursing home call. Most of what I've told you happened in a single night. This next one happened over 6 weeks, and it only got worse each time we went back. We were called to the same nursing home, 4 separate times in 6 weeks, always with the same room, always with the same resident, an elderly man in late-stage dementia. Each time, staff reported the same thing. He'd been found unresponsive. Then, moments before we arrived, he'd simply start breathing again on his own. By the 3rd call, the night nurse pulled me aside before we even reached his room. She said, "He's not going to be unresponsive when you get there. Just watch what he does with his hands." I didn't understand what she meant. Not yet. We walked in. He was sitting upright, wide awake, and his hands, both of them, were moving in slow, precise circles above the bed, like he was smoothing wrinkles out of a blanket that wasn't there. He'd done this, the nurse told us, every single time, right before we arrived, like he already knew we were coming, like he was preparing something for us to find. On the 4th call, we walked in and he wasn't moving his hands anymore. He was staring directly at the door, directly at the exact second it would open, before it opened. He looked at me and said, "Calm as anything. You're too late this time." He passed away 11 minutes later. Natural causes, the coroner said. His heart worn out after 89 years. But here's the detail that none of the staff will talk about on the record. The time of death, logged officially at 3:14 a.m., was the exact same time to the minute as the very first call we'd responded to for him 6 weeks earlier. The night his heart had restarted on its own. 6 weeks, same minute, like something had been keeping a very precise clock. Story 7. The address that doesn't exist. This is the one I opened with, the one I still haven't told you the ending to, and it's the reason I don't take overnight shifts alone anymore. 2:47 a.m. Dispatch gave us an address for a welfare check. A call phoned in by a neighbor who said they'd heard someone in distress. Nothing unusual about the request. What was unusual was the address itself. My partner, who'd worked that district for 15 years, said flatly, "That street doesn't exist, not anymore. It was rezoned and torn down a decade ago." Dispatch insisted the GPS was pulling a valid location. So we drove. The street existed. One house on it. Just one. Standing alone on an empty lot where an entire block should have been, surrounded by nothing but cleared dirt and a single dead streetlight. The house was completely dark. We approached, and that's when we heard it, knocking. From inside the garage, slow, deliberate. 3 knocks, a pause, 3 knocks again. The exact same rhythm as that porch light from story 3. The exact same pattern. My partner radioed in our location for backup. Dispatch came back and told us, plainly, that no unit had been sent to that address. That call had never gone out. Nobody had dispatched us there. We were standing in front of a house that, according to every record that existed, we had no reason to be at. We opened the garage door together. It was empty, completely empty. No power source, no vents, nothing that could explain a sound. But sitting in the center of the concrete floor was a single overturned chair, old, wooden, the kind you'd find in a house from decades ago. And on the wall behind it, scratched into the drywall, not painted, scratched deep enough to leave dust on the floor beneath it, was a single word. My name. My name. Not my badge name. Not my nickname. The name that man in story 5 said right before he told me about a swing set I'd never mentioned to a soul. We left. We didn't call it in. To this day, that address isn't in any system, isn't on any map, and my partner and I have never spoken about that night again, not once, not to each other. Which of these calls would you refuse to take? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more true horror from the back of an ambulance, more scary stories, more paramedic horror stories, more disturbing true stories nobody else will tell you, subscribe. New cases almost every other day.